Welcome to For Real I Do with Brittany Ellis, the unfiltered side of weddings. From planning truths to vendor insights to navigating design, culture, and family dynamics, this is for couples who crave clarity and vendors ready to elevate. Your insider pass with just a little oversharing. Today's guests have created one of the wedding industry's most recognizable sources of inspiration, education, and vendor discovery. What began as a curated platform showcasing beautiful celebrations has evolved into a trusted resource where couples can discover venues, connect with professionals, and explore emerging trends and gain practical insight into the wedding planning process. So joining us here today is Daria and Alina, the founders of WedVibes Media, and their platform has become really a destination for couples seeking thoughtful inspiration while helping them navigate one of the most exciting and sometimes overwhelming chapters of their lives. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Hi,
you,
Brittany.
Brittany.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for such an amazing intro. I love it.
First, I'm curious, maybe you can share a little bit more for, people who maybe are not as familiar with the WedVibes platform, like just curious what inspired you to start the platform and what it really offers to, brides or couples out there right now.
Yeah, so the story goes is like the folklore goes that actually WedVibes exist for almost 11 years at this point. Not so many people know about this because I feel like in an international market, we actually got recognized 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, and I used to be your colleague, Brittany. I used to be the wedding planner, and I used to organize weddings from all around the world. And this is how the idea struck. I had so many talented, beautiful friends, photographers, floral designers, makeup artists, you name it. And the idea was like none of them actually knew how to promote themselves for the couples. They had like just a baseline knowledge about who their audience is, like how to target themselves. Instagram just get into the play. And we started I used to offer marketing support to all of my friends. I run their social media. We talked about PR, publications, and then we thought, okay, what if we will create a platform of our own and we will help creatives to promote themselves and the couples to actually find the right fit for them. And then a few years ago, I met Alina in California. We had met at UCLA, at the university. And we decided why not because it used to be like the Russian platform. It was a Russian language, everything. And we decided, okay, why will we switch to English and try and conquer the world? And this is how, yes, we ended up here in California, in Los Angeles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, WedVibes creates such a amazing platform for a lot of other things that have developed. So are you saying initially it really started to create a platform that couples could find trusted pros, and then it's really just evolved beyond that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for couples, and I know that we're going to talk about this today, it's overwhelming. We call them the newborns because like you live your life, you know nothing about this industry. All of a sudden you got proposed and you start thinking about, okay, where should I do it? Should I do it in Italy, in my like hometown, or maybe let's go nuts and go to South Africa, for example. At the same time, they trying to navigate through all the Pinterest inspiration, all the mood boards, like so many different styles, so many talented people in the industry. And on the other hand, we have those professionals and they think, okay, how can I actually talk about my work? Like besides portfolio, what else should I offer to my couples so they will understand we are the right fit? And this is how, what we're doing right now. We're trying to help both sides. We're matchmakers.
To find the common ground.
Yeah, to find each other.
Yeah, like we say, good boys and good girls, they live in different universes, so we want to connect.
I really love that because it's so true, because obviously our team has experience working with you more from like the vendor perspective. And then obviously you have couples that are trying to find vendors either like us or like another vendor. And I think that it really is supportive. It's so funny. You definitely put it perfectly. Like you really are the matchmakers essentially, and making sure, what do you ultimately really think like makes a good match for a vendor and a couple? Like what are some of the key foundational points that you really feel like couples should be asking themselves essentially when they're vetting vendors?
I feel like once again we see every day so many great photographers. Let's talk about photographers, right? All of them have, for example, like take 50 photographers from even our directory. They have beautiful portfolio. They have slightly different style, but the result is great. They showcase like the gorgeous venues in, like, for example, California or France or Italy. And what happens next? As couple, I found them. Maybe they have similar prices, and the next choice for me will be, okay, how can I find whoever, like, with whoever I'm click? And this is what happens here. We talk a lot about personality and about, it's not only about the final result, and because all of those 50 photographers, they will deliver the great results. But will you click with them? Do you have a same sense of humor? Do you have the same values? Because essentially you have to trust your planners, your photographers. You have to trust them, because like they will create once in a lifetime experience for you. And the process matters almost as much as the final result. So for all the couples, it feels like it's essential to, of course, know all of the information. Like, does the budget fit? Does the style fit? Do you feel like you are more fashion forward bride, or you're more romantic film photography bride? But at the same point, think about, yeah, do you click? Do you feel like this person who essentially can be your friend? Because the friend is someone who you can trust.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think it is one of those things. Sometimes it is going through the weeds, and we're going to talk a little bit about just overwhelm and shopping fatigue and all those things. But, even from a planner perspective, like having a trusted platform that you can go to that like helps you through that vetting process is such a vital part. Because I will tell you, I'm a big personality person, especially when it comes to my lovely creatives, because we're very type A's. And then we have the lovely type B, let's call it creative, come on site for our events. And it's like they basically take the timeline as more of like a suggestion as opposed to like a roadmap. And I'm like, no, remember when we talked and you said you're only going to need 45 minutes for these pictures, and now we're over an hour in, and that becomes really stressful on site, right? And so we've all had those moments where it's like we pre-vetted a vendor, we felt like we were all on the same page, and then you go live and then it's essentially not that relationship or that result that you really looked at. And quite frankly, I think that does play a bigger role because you can take beautiful images. But if the couple's stressed out because they're running behind or whatever it is, then I think that plays a big role into what the final result is really going to end up being for everybody involved. Right. And so I think that's a great example for sure. I'm curious also, like, just in terms of like couples and being overwhelmed. I mean, a lot of couples essentially, as soon as they get engaged, they're telling us they're overwhelmed. I mean, why do you think that planning feels so much heavier now than it did, like, quite frankly, like even a couple years ago? Like, what is it about what's going on in our industry that's like just causing so much stress for
I
couples?
think that lots of information, that's for sure. And let's say maybe a couple years ago it was only Pinterest, and they know that lots of planners, it's like their pain point, like, oh my God, no, because the Pinterest and real budget or real capacities and capabilities usually normally doesn't speak, and also neither want to replicate something that already was created, right? The Pinterest is some kind of inspiration, but like regardless, separately, I believe that even Daria and I think we contributed to this trend of overwhelmed because we inspire all the wedding professionals to share more of their journey, and it feels like so there was like only Pinterest. It's like just the pictures, right? Now, if you open Instagram and you start wedding journey, wedding planning, the Instagram or TikTok algorithm, it gives you more and more and more and more. And at some point in 1 week, your feed will be all consisted of all kinds of content about the venues, about the inspiration, about what other people did. And on top of that, it's AI, it's ChatGPT and Claude. And it feels like, yeah, there are lots of tools, lots of sources, lots of channels, but when it comes to decision making and really understanding, like, let's break down the picture,
Yeah.
uh, that's kind of stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all no matter. I also feel like wedding industry is evolving, and so many even like venues, they do understand that weddings actually bring the great source of money, right? So it wasn't like that. Even like I started to work in this industry 17 years ago. And right now it feels like everyone understands, like all the, even like fashion photographers, they slowly also moved, like doubled into the wedding industry. So many venues opened their doors to weddings, becoming the industry itself becoming more and more competitive. So many people actually understanding. Yeah, this is the beauty, because before, I don't know how about you, Brittany, but I do believe that even like 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't quite cool to actually work in the wedding industry. And it's becoming like, it's not like fashion, it's not like movies, for example. And right now it feels like so many even creatives understand that it's actually very artistic, very creative field, and it's a whole production house. Um, so many talented people actually came into this room. We have more social media, to Alina's point. We have Pinterest, Instagram, we have TikTok, and couples right now, whenever they open like one of those social media, they got like overflown with like so many inspiration, so many mood boards, so many examples. You can do so many things. You have so many choices, even in terms of the bridal designers. Uh, Whatever, venues, destinations, you can fly everywhere in the world. And this is becoming the big experience for them, the big journey. That's why the planning takes like a year or two just to understand what's it about. Like
Yeah, oh my God,
what
you're
are your
so right.
choices?
You're
Yeah,
so right. It's almost like the foundational conversation of what we even want to create takes time because, quite frankly, otherwise, if you just go prematurely, like, okay, like press the go button, let's just like start randomly looking at properties. I feel like, quite frankly, that's probably one of the most common mistakes a lot of clients make is they allow themselves to sort of just like do the endless scrolling, which is fun. There's, initially no harm in it, but then you go down these rabbit holes and it's like before you know it, you're like, oh, well, that's out of my budget, or this can't fit my guest count, or that's going to cause too much of a travel for my attendees, or whatever the reason might be. And then you're not really going about the whole process intentional. But you're so right. I mean, our industry is really great, but you almost have to set up your own boundaries on it. Now we have like people in our industry creating their own YouTube channels and episodes. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm prepared for
Yeah,
this.
and from the marketing perspective, the more choices we give to customers, this is the worst thing that can happen. Like, for example, Steve Jobs, he truly believed that, for example, all the products of Apple, they should have, for example, if iPhones, you have a new iPhone, but it will be represented just in two colors. And right now we have like 6 in every line, because the more choices you give to people, the more they become overwhelmed. Usually they have 1, 2, or 3, and which is fine with them, because even without making decisions for your wedding, every day you make 1 or 2,000 decisions, just like how will you just take your coffee this morning? Should you take a shower first before your like morning coffee? Should you go outside to run or whatever, right? There are so many choices, and it feels like we have to somehow figure out the way. We don't have the answer, honestly, but we have to figure out the way how to help them understand who they are and help them with their choices, essentially.
I think it's a matter of timing because if you have waiting in 3 months, you have to be quick. Because actually, that's another trend. Because when we communicate with wedding planners, even photographers, more and more they say, yeah, there is like the short runners, or how to say, the sprinters, because they have like, I have a wedding already this October. Let's do it. And it feels like it's not enough time on the one hand. On the other hand, you make decisions quicker because some brides, they now reach out to planners and it's 2028. And I know that planners already have anxiety because like 2 years making decision on a gown
About
on the
everything.
venue.
Yeah.
So I think that we can just shorten. I mean, it's a joke, but yeah, I mean, on the realistic perspective, the shorter you have, like everywhere, if you have a deadline, you become the smartest and the quickest person.
Yeah.
Uh, that's
Yeah.
the same for the
Is that
wedding.
your advice? Are you like, hey, listen, take this 2-year planning process that you're trying to create and maybe like shrink it down a little bit? Because
Hmm.
I will say, because we specialize obviously in like more like Indian or multicultural couples, and they a lot of times, just quite frankly, because of their schooling or where they are in their professional careers, they almost know what they're doing in the next 2 to 3 years. And so for
Mhm.
them, they're trying to be like, all right, like I'm going to go ahead and bookmark a date in 2028. We're going to get a venue and then we're going to press the pause button and then we're going to shop it a little bit and take that time. And in hindsight, I think that that can hurt some couples because you have couples that, quite frankly, I think another big adjustment, I don't know if you're seeing this all trending everywhere, but I feel like people are attending more social functions than they ever have before. So you're almost exposed to a lot more too. And so it's like your ideas from one year to another are going to completely adjust and change over the
Yep,
course of time.
absolutely true. Yeah, the more you see what happens in the world, the more you experience, the more let's say lost you become because you know what's my story, what's my style,
Yeah.
what are my choices, and like and once again everyone knows wedding happens once in a year, in a lifetime, maybe 2 or 3 times, but still, it's a unique event. You
Yeah.
have to make choices with which you will be essentially fine throughout the whole lifetime, right? Like, you have to like look at your pictures 20 years from now, and this is the huge responsibility for you as a couple
Hmm.
to, yeah, to be fine with your choices,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious if someone goes on to, your wedding website or your platform, essentially, what are some of the things that you feel like maybe might initially support them? Just in like, where would you almost have them start as even just like a potential like research or look? I mean, keep in mind at this point, hopefully that couple already has discussed date and how many people and how much money do we want to spend? Like, what
Okay.
would you feel like would be a really great, like, just place for them to maybe journey to, or like some thoughtful insight for them in the beginning stages?
I feel like I feel like you will agree with me, Brittany, that all the journey starts with a venue and with location. It's all the matter of deciding where you actually want to do it. And we see that so many couples actually want to travel, maybe overseas with their guests, and give them this experience also of a lifetime. But you have to essentially understand what's your vibe. And I feel like we write so many articles about different styles, and it should be your guidebook. It's not something that
For your
it's not a
wedding.
blueprint. Yeah.
For your wedding. It's a guide and also to explore how the wedding can look like. But just the one thing that it's easier to do on the website is it's our website or other wedding dedicated website, just because it's a rabbit hole. When you do it on Instagram, maybe you save something, but it's not structured. It's a bunch of
Hmm.
inspiration, very random. But if you use the platform, first of all, it's grouped. It's like a library. It's systemized, and you can understand. All right, you like the blue aesthetics, and you have more examples dedicated to this theme and the ways how to execute. Or what I feel like going most often, sometimes people know what they don't like
Right.
because like
It's
I don't
easier.
want this cheesy wedding, don't want this conventional wedding. I totally don't want to do like the wedding that like this outdated style or like my girlfriend did. I want to do something different and please impress me. So for this part, websites usually work good because, okay, if you choose one direction, you have lots of examples how you can actually see it living, in pictures. Because we usually make a joke. Actually, it was my college teacher. She said like all the kids perceive information only in pictures. That's why I will show you pictures. It's the same. I mean, even adults, right? We can describe you everything, but when I show you picture, you can say me really you like it or you don't like. So that's like uh, visual guideline of how it can look like. That really helps.
Yeah.
But another part will be, of course, if it's possible to implement it in exact venue with exact budget. That's
Yeah.
the other part.
Yeah, I definitely
It,
agree.
yeah, and I feel like venue inspires a lot, and it doesn't. It feels like today it doesn't even matter where exactly this venue located. It's something that just like hits you right in the head, and you see like, oh, I love it. It could be something with a beach or like with a sand in the sea, or it could be like the old Abbatzia, for example, in Italy. It feels like right now it's just less and less like matters, because couples, they fall in love with the specific vibe. That's why I'm talking about, yes, it's the journey starts with a venue, because venue will dictate in some parts your color scheme, right? Your color palette. It will dictate the overall vibe of the event. But yeah, it all starts with like, do you like it? And to Alina's point, maybe you don't like this, and this, and this, then it can narrow down the whole part,
Yeah.
the whole, yeah, scenario for you.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't agree more. I'm curious because I do feel like, talking about potentially like different locations or destinations or venues. I mean, your team obviously reviews weddings from around the world, obviously not just US based. What trends are you sort of seeing that are emerging or just in general that you're seeing that's forecasted across the board? Is it destination weddings in general, or what are you sort of seeing?
So the first trend would be experience over anything else, because it used to be it used to be more, I want to say, traditional. Then like everyone knows what to expect, and everyone comes, and you have to spend like lots of money, for example, on decor, on flowers. So everyone in the room will understand that you actually dedicated lots of time, money, and effort. And
Right.
today, once again, because like we have so many choices, the product, like the team evolves, and even planners right now, they're able to do so much more. It becomes, like I said, the whole theatrical Hollywood even production, right? And today we see like a lot of couples, they tend to spend more money on experience, meaning maybe it will be the same amount of money they've spent on decor, but decor will be in those little tiny details that will tell you a story about them.
Mhm.
And this is how, and this is why actually like experience, it's a kind of like it inspires so many couples to choose destination weddings, because during destination weddings you will spend not one but maybe 2 or 3 days with your guests, and this is how you can actually create memories with them, and you can give them this experience. You will go on a guide tours, on, I don't know, boat tours. You will do like the pickleball, or you can do yoga all together, and this is will grant memories to everyone who's involved,
Yeah, I
right?
absolutely love that because I think that guest experience, sometimes there's this misunderstanding with couples that a guest experience means like another favor or trinket that you need to pass out at your event. And it's, it's not that. It could be some surprise musical entertainment, right? I mean, it could be obviously gifting. It could be an outing together or, a paid excursion or something like that. I mean, I think the whole premise is that you're inviting your nearest and dearest to come to a celebration of a location that maybe they've never been before. And you're trying to really make it a fantastic weekend for everybody. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to, provide, essentially another event for them, let's say, but there's another way that you can create a guest experience outside of the main core functions, which I think can really aid in creating that experience for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. So speaking of another, let's say, trend, or how we can call it trend, I think it's getting more fashion forward. I know some people hate it. We as media, of course, we encourage that. First of all, several change of looks, not only for brides, but even for grooms. Grooms becoming bold, and I see that this topic is the groom topic is celebrated because we maybe 2 months ago we posted a post. We published the inspiration for the groom, unconventional grooms, and it like the
It blew up.
engagement
Yeah.
really went through the roof. It has like million views, thousands likes, and of course we love to explore this topic even more because again, conventional weddings is like groom just tuxedo and the bride has a dress that is something special. But now they both like brides changing looks and the groom also express himself um, through the look. And it feels like it's overall the trend of men fashion, right? Men express themselves bolder. And of course, because like we usually say, wedding is continuation of our life. It's not living in the bubble of yourself, right? If traveling becoming more popular and easy because there is like remote work becoming all over the place, so you can travel and you can work. It's not like I have to have 2 week vacation. As a result, people crave experience, people crave destination weddings. Fashion becoming bigger because fast fashion is in the different room. We're going to talk about fast fashion and actually the latest release of Devil Wears Prada 2. They also touch this point. But again, fashion becomes more affordable and more people step into that. Of course, Instagram and influencers also fuel that. As a result, weddings becoming more fashion forward. Storytelling, Instagram and Reels and TikTok making us to tell the stories rather than posting beautiful pictures. As a result, what we see in weddings, people crave stories. People want to share. Experience is also part of the storytelling, right? That you want to tell and you want people to tell about your wedding because you can describe emotions. So that's another part. And as a result, customization and tailoring, because we also make a joke that even like if you grew up with Instagram and TikTok algorithm customized for you, of course, regardless of your budget, you also want your personal twist because it is customized, ads are customized, everything now is customized, and that shapes your expectation.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it really does boil down to creating this like ultimate personalized experience. I think quite frankly, the expectation level has been raised, right? I mean, it used to just be, you know, giving people a good meal, some good entertainment, and sort of calling it a night. And now it really has become these layered mini events like a welcome party or a pool hangout. And then, like a little mini meal after the wedding, which in turn obviously does affect people's bottom lines. I mean, have you been seeing just in general in the market that obviously wedding budgets are increasing? I mean, they certainly are for multicultural weddings. I think that probably goes without saying across the board. Is it an inflation thing or is it just because we're doing more? Like, I'm just
I
curious.
feel like I feel it's both. It's inflation, of course, because everything is becoming more expensive. Flights becoming more expensive. I don't know. We just discussed it with my friends because I'm a huge concert fan. I love to go on a concert. Doesn't matter like on a big stadium or the small venue. They becoming significantly more expensive than even like 2 or 3 years ago. And also to the point of the trends, personalization, because couples right now they want more unique things that are done just or created just for them, and they becoming more, let's say, eccentric in the best way possible because the wedding right now should reflect their personality. Customization always would cost
Yeah.
much more.
Because it's a manpower. Yeah,
It's a
it's
manpower.
not a machine. I mean, it can be machine, but somebody should create it. It should minimum run. Yeah, it costs money.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally get what you're saying about the fashion because I think weddings have sort of just really entered. I mean, someone put it to me. I was at a networking event, I think it was recently at Kindred, where they were like, weddings it's a lifestyle. We're in the lifestyle industry. We're not in the wedding industry anymore. Because if you think about beauty and fashion and culinary and obviously travel, I mean, it's become very much more of a lifestyle sort of brand that we're all in as opposed to it just being weddings. And I think that that's really been a big transition, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's continuation of your lifestyle because if you're the person who love, for example, gather your friends for even small celebrations, I don't know, for the Independence Day, for example, are you this person who will spend more money to do the beautiful tableware, to buy some flowers? Is it important for you? If this important for you during like your everyday life, let's say, and smaller celebrations, of course it will be important for you for the bigger celebration. Otherwise, you will just go to the court and you will get your marriage license, which is totally fine if that's about you. But if we talk about the industry and all the people who like involved on the bigger scale, is going to be just a different production. Once again, Hollywood versus Sundance indie
Right.
movies. Like everything has its beauty, everything has its power, but it's just we are as professionals on this side most likely on this side of the industry because like we do tell stories about people who spend so much time and effort and money on
Yeah.
those situations.
Yeah. And I'm curious, talking about just like being intentional and, setting kind of like trying to quiet the noise a little bit, obviously, with just how much options that there are. I mean, your team obviously interacts with like hundreds, if not thousands, of like vendors in the industry. I mean, what, in your professional opinion, do you think sort of separates someone from being really exceptional from someone who is a little bit more just like run of the mill, if you will, in terms of vendors? I mean, I'm just thinking about what couples should essentially be looking for beyond a
Hmm.
beautiful Instagram account.
Such a good question.
I mean,
Yeah.
for the photographers, check the full galleries because that's something worth looking at. I mean, that's a big topic now to me and to everybody, that the great professionals usually lacking the Instagram muscle, and what you see on Instagram sometimes looks not as impressive as the real work. And also, the real wedding is not only Instagram, it's not only the content, it's like logistics. It's so much thing that it's hard to show, right? Oh, it doesn't look so cool, right? But there is other professionals who may be not that good in logistics, but they're good in content creation, so they build a better impression. So, and it happens all the time, unfortunately, that people with like very cool Instagram with lots of followers, because they nailed the Instagram strategy, probably they haven't nailed the real gem of how to organize weddings. So full galleries, regardless of the
Mhm.
profession, right?
Yeah.
People have to have an experience of working with real people, because the models or the stage shoots, it's not real. They can express their creativity, but it's not real people. Real people not as attractive usually.
Sure.
They're different. They're really stressed. And if you can deal with stress as a makeup artist, as a planner, as a videographer, whoever really have the connection, that's actually the consistency of the result. Because even I, when I come to the, let's say, uh, editorial, I can make a better picture, but under the stress, that's how you can prove. So the full galleries ask questions. Also, when we were preparing for this podcast, we chatted with Daria, and she said, like, keep asking other vendors that you already hired. Like, do you know about these guys? Who you recommend? The decision is always for you to make. Like with a hairstylist, maybe not, but you just keep asking trusted people, especially in the industry, of the advice. Found somebody on Instagram, have you really worked with them? Like, how was the experience? Because that's a big part that is not shown on website and Instagram. And another part is reviews and the testimonials. It's kind of, it still works, and it worth asking like the reviews from real people. But of course, it's also for you to decision to make if you trust these reviews, or what kind of like, there are different people who give the reviews, like, but it still helps to build
Yeah.
the
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about your experience, for example, on Amazon, whatever, whenever you choose some product, you will, and you have once again the same product, same price, and you feel like, okay, which one should I buy? And essentially, once you would go and read the reviews, and you will look at the stars, like how many stars it had, 4 out of 5, or maybe even slightly bigger. So yeah, I guess like reviews, but honestly, connections, and I do believe it during even my work, whenever I needed as a planner to find new vendors, for example, even in new countries, and I didn't know whom to trust. I would always come to people who I already trust, who I already picked for this project, and I would ask for their recommendations, because the process is the most important thing. Like, is this person as a team worker? Like, does this person work on the overall vibe during the event? Because this is what matters for everyone, and this is what will give the couple actually the peace of mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I love that you said that, because both of you are spot on, because there is a certain degree of obviously research and credentials and reviews and things that you can lean on. But there's an element that obviously AI cannot take over, which is essentially that connection. And quite frankly, when you get on a call with someone, if you're just not clicking, then most likely that is going to translate into your relationship with them in the planning, and it's going to translate into the relationship with you on site. And then the opposite of that is if you are clicking and all the things, they're saying all the right things, but then you don't actually take the time to connect with maybe a past client of theirs to also get insight. So I think to weed through it, I think you almost have to be willing to put a little bit of work into it, so that you're not just like sort of being unintentional with hiring your professionals, right? I mean, because there's obviously green flags and red flags, but ultimately it's just making sure that you comb through all of that.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're so different, and it could be, for example, the most celebrated planner like published everywhere, like gorgeous portfolio, and then you jump on a call and you just don't have this connection because sometimes you do and you can talk for, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours on everything, even besides the topic, and you just know this is your person. It's like it's the same thing.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I would never obviously give names or bash anyone in our industry. I love my vendors, but I've absolutely had experiences where we've worked with, top tier designers that for every sake of the matter would be considered the creme de la creme. I mean,
Mhm.
minimum of $500,000 decor budget to even to have a consult with them, and then had a really poor on-site delivery. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's frustrating when it happens, but, unless you really dive in and you talk to past brides and you really get an understanding of their experience, I mean, I just don't know what better way you can to potentially pre-vet somebody, because Instagram is really lovely, but it's like it's our own marketing, right? It's like, of course, it's going to show me from all my good angles. It's not going to show like if anything went awry. And I think that's something that, all of us are only as good as our last event. So I definitely would encourage any couple out there to just do your research and chat with some past couples, chat with some past couples for sure. Um, so I have a couple questions for you here. I mean, would you rather hire someone with thousands of followers or consistently recommend, or someone who consistently recommended by planners and venues? Because obviously we talk about like Instagram following. Like, how important is that, I guess, when brides are trying to make a decision? Is it important that they have a strong following, or is it more important that venues and planners are really standing behind them?
I
Of
think
of course, you know the answer.
I
followers.
don't.
Yeah,
Right, tend to not. They tend to literally, I think it's a lot of it's sometimes I think it's smoke and mirrors in our industry where they go on and they see they have like 200,000 followers, right? And then it's like, I think sometimes you can get lost in the
it's
weeds with that stuff.
tempting.
It's
It's tempting
tempting.
to work with influencers,
Yeah,
let's say.
because
Yeah.
we give the credit because the big audience for most of us associated with the high quality, high standards, publicity, recognition. In many cases, it is because I would be also honest. If the professional works in the industry like 10 years and they have less than 2K followers, it's kind of questionable. Like, no, because you probably collaborated with certain people during these 10 years. So, like, organically, you grow to 10K. So it's not like the criteria, but most of the, let's say, established professionals, they already have some kind of audience. It's really weird if you've been working in the industry 10 years and still have 2K saying that, oh, I have all my clients from word of mouth. Usually it's like the certain tier of weddings you provide, serve, right?
Mhm.
So that's why it's tempting to say, no, only work with trusted vendors, don't look on the Instagram following. It's always a balance. Of course, again, the delivery, the quality comes from the experience. At the same time, being a wedding professionals, you have to be visible. You have to work on your marketing, as eventually you will grow your audience. So that's why you cannot trust audience, but audience shows that you put some effort in terms of being seen, working at the right projects,
Yeah.
and also taking care of your brand overall. Because I love to give examples from different industries, right? There are lots of good shoes that you can wear, and some of them very high quality. But most of us in this room and the people who listen, probably you wear now the On Cloud or Hoka shoes, or I don't know, Adidas. But there is certain branding, and to me, Instagram following, it's part of the branding and marketing you put. Because yeah, there are lots of good products. If you can work with a good professional with like zero marketing, it's your choice. But most probably it's not also like, again, we're speaking about different ambitions of the couple. If they want to be seen, if they want to have a creative freedom, most of these kind of professional eventually and organically they have audience. So I cannot say that they're so humble and so nice doing the great job and nobody knows about them except the venues and planners.
I would agree. I definitely think it
It's
is a
not
balance.
Yeah.
they. It's
I
not
But
definitely
they.
if it comes to choice, I would definitely will recommend, of course, trust your planners. Always trust your
Yeah,
planner.
it,
Trust your
it is.
venue.
Yeah.
It is what it
But I
is.
don't want to encourage these talks from the professionals who say like, I'm a great professional, but I have 2K and people don't like me. Yes, work on that. If you're a
yeah,
great professional, eventually you will grow.
yeah,
Trust me.
yeah.
Yeah, there are some of the flakes. Don't look at the flakes.
Mhm.
Flakes is
Yeah.
meaning like they have a huge audience, but they cannot deliver. But
Yeah.
usually, and we have experience of working with great professionals who
Mhm.
still work on their visibility, on their marketing. And speaking of again other industries, usually the great products they have great communication and the way they can
Yeah.
package
Yeah.
their brand,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's also something to consider, not one criteria, but yeah, speaking of the couples who listening to us right now, it is still important. But again, turn on the critical thinking. We already chatted about that. Full galleries, connection, views, all this part. Don't just be, overly excited about the
About their 100,000 followers.
influencer professionals.
Right. Right. I totally agree. And I know I could literally talk to you ladies all day. One thing we definitely just have to hit on for sure is we got to talk about money. We got to talk about budget because I just want to make sure that I talk about this because I think so many couples right now are experiencing like serious sticker shock. I mean, I'm just curious, why do you feel like in our industry there's such a disconnect between expectations and what the actual wedding is going to end up costing overall? I mean, just in your professional opinion.
Yeah, what I feel like it's also our own fault as professionals because it used to be quite common to hide the prices for some reason. And even whenever, like, as a marketing people, whenever we discuss the sales funnel with professionals, it's still customary to this day. Like, whenever inquiry comes into your inbox, to actually invite people for the Zoom call, for example, even before sharing your prices. And imagine couples' disappointment if they have, let's say, I don't know, $50,000 as an overall budget, and during call with you, they figure out that actually your services cost 15, which is impossible for them. People don't like to feel stupid, and this is why we encourage right now ourselves. We try to drive this agenda, and we encourage everyone. Let's be more transparent about prices because even if you Google, for example, the average cost of wedding in whenever, wherever, California, Italy, the prices on Google will be not truthful. It will be much.
No, it's like what the venue cost. You're like, this
Yeah.
isn't even remotely close. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
and that's why we see so many TikToks. I open TikToks every day, and I see those frustrated brides that actually share the prices from photographers, like, and they are genuinely surprised, like how the photographer can cost $10,000. We have different tiers of photographers. Let's be honest, we have photographers for $2,000, 15, 50, 50. And it's all
Yeah.
the different tiers. Once again, I love this comparison. For example, for cars, you can buy Toyota or you can buy Porsche, right? It's all about also
You
the
can take a
credibility.
bus at the end of
Or
the
you
day.
can take a bus. Yeah, it's all fine. But yeah, but it's all about uh, educating couples about how much it actually costs and that we have different tiers of professionals because of their recognition points, because of their work with celebrity. I don't know, because of the how many years in the industry, but honestly being more transparent, and even in your inquiry form, make this note. Like, I would love to work with you as a couple. My prices start here.
Hmm.
And initially it will help them to send this inquiry or not, because they
Yeah.
love your work. They would
Yeah.
love to work with you. They simply don't have budget for it.
Yeah, I think that that's brilliant because one of the biggest adjustments that we even made as a company is that we actually have an intake form that they have to fill out and they actually have to pick what their target overall investment range is. And we don't even have an option anymore for anything under $350,000 because for a multi day Indian wedding celebration, it's not going to be under that. At least not the type of events that we're hosting or supporting our clients and hosting. So it's like I don't even have the option. So it's almost like I hope that that gives some indication as to where the ranges are going to fall. But it's also because I'm very passionate about couples being educated on how much these things are going to cost because like staffing and taxes and labor fees and insurance and permits and all those other things that they don't essentially think about are going to drive the cost. And I think you're totally right. I think there just needs to be
Absolutely.
a little bit more transparency there
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
there's also education that comes to the point of social media and how you can actually show up to, this trend right now. I feel like everyone posted, and I personally love it. Do not show your work, show you working.
Oh,
You can
right.
jump
Yeah.
on this trend, or even more so, you can explain what actually you do. Because to the point of how the photographer can cost $10,000, do you know how much equipment costs these days? They reinvest in the new cameras, new lenses. Talk about logistics. Talk about how much, I don't know, the platform where you actually save
Deliver the
deliver
pictures.
the pictures. It
Mhm.
also costs some money for the storage, right? How much everything costs for you as an artist to provide this, or as a professional to provide this level of service. Like, to your point, you also pay taxes, you also pay to your team, right? You have a salary. So the more we educate couples why it actually costs so much, more they will understand it, because they do understand why interior designer costs as much, or why this car costs so much. Like,
Yeah.
they do not question it, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I so appreciate both of you ladies giving me so much of your time. Like, I knew that we were going to have a longer episode today because I was like, I've got way too much I got to cover with them. But in closing, I am curious if you could give any piece of advice to a couple before they start planning, just in your professional opinion, what would it be?
I feel like it's a great journey of self-discovery. The more you understand who you are as a person and what tickles your fancy, the more like clear the whole wedding planning journey will become for you. If you know that you want to have a wedding on Burning Man, it's possible today, or on Coachella, or like whatever. You can right now break so many traditions. You can wear red wedding dress instead of white. You can do it, I don't know, in every scenario is possible, but you have to understand who you are. What's your favorite country? What's your favorite food? Does food actually matters to you, or you more want to concentrate on, I don't know, dances, or you want to invite someone famous to impress everyone, I don't know, John Legend to perform on your wedding? The more you're honest with yourself, the more you understand who you are, the easier will be all the choices we discussed during this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Let's
couldn't
just
agree
say.
more.
And if you don't know whom to hire first, the venue or the planner, it starts with the planner. So if you consider working with the planner, start with the planner if you have, the budget.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
And
planner
then the
will help
venue
you.
comes, the venue and the other vendors comes together with the planner.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more, obviously. I mean, I'm biased, but I
Yeah,
definitely think that we help a lot for sure. For sure.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And you will save actually lots of money for them, because you will not allow them to make some mistakes.
Some
No,
rotations.
absolutely not. Like, spend
Yeah.
60% of your budget on like one item. You're like, okay, let's not
On a
do that.
dress, for example. Yeah, let's spend a lot of money on a dress, and then we're done.
Trade it in. Let's trade it in. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for your expertise, your insight, your perspective. I truly value both of you so much, and cannot thank you enough for joining. Please do let our listeners know where they can find you, and follow along.
Thank you, Brittany, for having us. Yeah,
Yes,
everybody can always find us on WedVibes. WedVibes. It's wedding vibes, not wet vibes.
it's our accent comes to the play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dot media.
WTD wed.
Yeah,
yes.
Wed
The vibes
vibes.
dot
All right.
media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And thank you for having us. It was such an honor to share our expertise and
Yeah, I
to
loved it.
brainstorm of what we can do together as professionals to help the journey for the couples easier and more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you both. Thank you for all you do for our industry too. So much.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you.